you know, the old-time pharmaceutical companies, they're changing, right? And then one day there's a story. I was at the Jets game, and Christopher was there, your owner, and I was with Charles Sullivan. Charles is his brother's the head of Dana-Farber. And the funny thing about it, when I was standing there, they invited me up into the owner's suite for the Jets with Charles. And it was funny to see that day the Jets were playing the Patriots, and it was a hard day to go through for 45 minutes. We successfully left. We did win that day, Patriots. Okay. Anyway, so tonight I have to say my friend and colleague, Sir Larry Kahn, is not here. He has another obligation. He was going to speak also. He was nominated for my foundation. We'll talk about that for the Nobel Peace Prize, along with the UN and the Quakers. A lot of people are saying that we weren't nominated. I was nominated in the same fashion. And I never expected that in my life. But I was working on this for more than 12 years, the work that we were doing. And so I'm going to talk about three things. Before I got here today, why we're here, and where we're going in the future. All right? And if I can keep that short, I'll just tell a few jokes. The reason why I wear the hat, when I land at the airport, all the pilots see the clearing on my head and they want to land. So I want to get here safe. So we don't want to do it. Now, some of the people, where's Margaret Liu? Margaret, is she still here? Yes. Okay, thank you, Margaret. Her son worked for me at Homeland Security for 911, and I was the subject matter expert on that system for Gartner Consulting. I did take over the contracts from Northrop Grumman, Verizon, the rest of them. I was a single vendor, got in there, became a prime vendor. That's unheard of. That system defends you every day here in New York City, 8,000 calls an hour. And they deliver fire trucks in 4.5 minutes and police officers. We'll see if that continues into the future, okay? Now, all right, so we're going to talk about how I got started. My grandmother started 20th Century Fox, was a different name company at that time, Anna Fox Movies. Later on, I worked for Jeff Tornberg with Andy Warhol, and then the movie The Centerfold about Hugh Hefner's life. And then I moved over and I got a job with Eli Mason, the New York State Society Chairman for CPAs and lawyers, and David Goddard, and we were working at that time. I was a no one, but we were working on creating Virgin. So Mr. John was good. We worked on that way before I knew him. I did an NFT at that time, and my mentor became Jack Dreyfus Corp. Herbert Heaton from the Rockefeller Group, and I know wait till you hear the rest of it. Later on, let me see if I can talk. I have a lot of stuff, but I went into the VC world, and I did about 48 IPOs. I write them, the PPMs, the planning, everything. Later on, I taught that with a Fulbright scholar. All right, that's Dr. Wolf. You guys know Dr. Wolf. He started Michael Dell Computers. All right. So I had that. Several of my students. One is running for president of Haiti, Jude. You know him, and we have other ones in other countries. The other day we were at the Harvard Club, and we had Congressman Ogles there. And I was upstairs, and I ran into my old chief marketing officer, and we were down there talking about peace and what we could do. Ogles is a good moving man. He's moving up in the political world, and we're asking for his support in what we're doing in one of the foundations. And so we're moving this area. Everybody else knows I've been on China Daily, I don't know, 12 times. So it's about 1 billion people each time. So when we go on there, I'm not looking for something. We're looking to spread the message that there is no need for war. All right, there is a need for discussion. Right? And my foundation, I've been working over 28 years privately with the unfortunate wrongful death of my beautiful Chinese wife. I had to come out of the shade or the shadows. Charles Sullivan, the ex-owner of the Patriots, said to me one day in 2012 with the police athletic luncheon, you know, they'll kill you for this hydrogen. So I invented a new form of hydrogen. Recently I found out that I wasn't nominated for the physics, but I was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize because of the hydrogen and what it's going to do. In 48 countries, I presented articles about hydrogen, what it can do. If you have free energy, there's a lot of things you can succeed on without trying. So that's kind of up to now. We'll talk about now. All right. In my prior speech, and also at the UN when I made a presentation there, I think you were there, right? Yeah. What I was saying in there is that China and the US is really at the forefront of problems and solutions. And one of the things I did in the prior speech was saying that we live in a very, very interesting time, extraordinary time. Because when I first started doing business deals in 1976, I couldn't shave, I had hair. Right? But I would need 40, 50, or 60 people to launch a company. And the initiatives that we were doing at that time came from one person called the entrepreneur, the product champion. And the limitation was their money, time, and labor. With AI, you can get all around that. I am now shrinking a team of 35 post-startup down to 6 or 7. All right, so the normal deal that I would do is we go with the entrepreneurs, 2 or 3 people, then we get up to 12 at 32, all right? And when I did US IT for the IPO, it was 8.6 billion here in New York City. We get politics in there. Everybody's fighting for equity, right? And when you go from that 32, 39 to 112, you get a lot of problems where you really can't get out of your way, and you're fighting the bumper car problem. Everything you're doing is going all over the place. What we're doing today is I have 18 IPOs waiting. I was just over yesterday over at the NASDAQ, and I speak with Raymond James and JP Morgan and the rest of the big boys that we work, Mellon Bank too. We are able to do what took maybe 5 years in 2 years or less. And I taught this at the university, over 4,000 students. All right, and with the Fulbright Scholar, and then we had, the way you, in my class, in the dean's class, Dr. Wolf's class, my class, if you do your business plan, and I know I'm not easy with this gentleman, I always look away. All right. If you do your business plan and present it to my VCs and you raise your money, you get an A. All right, and it was very successful. Many of my students now are out in the world doing what they had to do. I did this all free, no money, okay, and we're continuing to do it. But we're at the point here in the world where we can solve almost any problem. It's coming up, and we can create innovation, and instead of having one single entrepreneur doing a business venture, we can take those top 8 people and put them into 8 other ventures. Before long, with the VC, we're up in your conversation, the VC money helps everybody in the community. Besides making it more competitive, that money lifts everything up, and it's like economic development. And the Chinese have done a better job at it than we have. And I've been to 80 cities in China, and I do know what's going on. That last conversation I said that, and I became well known at the UN, that's all I wanted. But we're at the point now where everybody in this room can take their dream with little money and go out and start a venture. All right, and it's really phenomenal. Langshan Mattel Steel, you probably know him, right? Nope. He's a great man. So I think it was in 2010, he became a British subject, and I was there in the Tuttle House when they did it, and we talked about this. AI did not start 10 years ago, it started in 1950. My first experience with AI was LISP, L-I-S-P, 1979. That's when you could actually start programming with this, all right? What we're faced with right today is people who are above us or on side of us that have a vested interest that's contrary to our objectives. And we live in an era where VCs, when I first started, with Eli and the rest, we didn't even know what they were. Worked for the Rockefellers and so on. Right? Today, it is mainstream. And AI is coming in to actually lead the way. Right? You're like, good, okay, so, well, I like the feedback. So this long speech here, I'm going to be publishing some of the articles on the Global Chinese-US Peace Research Institute. All right, I know where it's featured. I know everyone wants to go eat, but I had at the Harvard Club, we launched the foundation. You came, right? Yeah. We had 100 people scheduled, we had 140 people show up. I had Mark Medovich, I don't know if you know Mark, he has the book, The World Run by AI. And I met him in Vienna with the State Department dinner in 2007. We did see Putin at that time, and I got 2 bottles of his vodka. Did that right. But with my Chinese wife, and some of you know, my life dramatically changed because I became a son-in-law of China. And my wife was extraordinarily important to me. It's a shame what they did here and the shenanigans that went on in the court after her death. It was just terrible. All right. But in the last 5 years, I lost my wife, my father, my mom, all at the same time during the pandemic. To talk about longevity, my family lives to be 106. So I have good genes, right? My grandmother, who was hooked on Daly, smoked 2 packs of Marlboros every day almost, right? She also was a very big drinker of scotch. She said to me, burn the candle at the front, at the end, and in the middle. And I said, why? And she said, because you'll be dead for 500 years. The most important thing we do, she's a great lady, the most important thing we do is when we do business transactions to keep peace, we should have honorable transactions on the local level between 2 people, in cities, and between countries, and governments. When you have that, you have a low element of crime, and you have a low element of war. Now, there's a lot of things I can talk about. I have a lot of friends. One of my friends we nominated, Dame Kindle, Alice Kindle. She was at the party at Harvard. She graduated Harvard. She was the first one to live near the Dalai Lama. And she was knighted. She owns the real estate in this building, so I was trying to invite her. She owns all the Trump's real estate underneath. She collected over 800 pieces of the Dalai Lama, and she's donating them back to museums around the world. We did nominate her for peace work because she saved culture. Without the past, you don't know the future, right? You may be done with the past, it's not done with you. So I could talk about a lot of things. I don't know what everybody wants. I'll put up the mic. Anybody wants me to talk about how I became nominated, why I became nominated. The reason I became nominated was the work I was doing focused on economics and peace. Where we have good transactions and people eat 3 meals a day, and they raise their kids and they make art and music and everything else, there's no war. We need to come back to that, and we're focused on that. That's pretty much, I mean, I don't know what else you want, but I had a slide presentation, but I don't think anybody wants to hear that stuff. But I'd be happy to help anybody in their foundations do things. All right. My foundation in New Jersey, one of them is Forgotten. She was the first female lawyer out of NYU Law. My coach was the fencing coach there, Hugo Costello. Right? And it's a great school, and I was the only company she invested in that was in a bond. And she died at 103, if I'm not mistaken. My father died at 97. I was in Wuhan in December 2019. We came back and we think he got infected by that. And then my grandma was 106 when she died. So there's a lot to say about genetics and everything else, but we live in an era where the medicine with the AI, we're about to solve everything that the snake oil salesman did in 425, right? But we're legitimately doing it, not a fake promise. And if you live the next 5 to 10 years, you may live for 30 more years. For every 7 years of medicine in the United States, you live another 10 years. And anyway, so I want to thank you tonight. Is there anything else you want to hear about, or I don't know. Forget about it. Let's go.
How you get nominated?
Okay, I was writing articles or private papers, submitting them to countries to my foundation. We're publishing some of them on the website. The new one I'm doing is about this. It's going to the President of the United States. Congressman Nobel said to me he would deliver it, and we're working up that ladder. What's going to happen by 2035? China's population will be about 200 to 350 million people. So they have an overhang of people. And they are the ones that make all the innovative products, like for instance, the robots, the AI, and so on. All our supply is in China. We need that supply here in the United States so we can start off the next bubble of innovation. For Charlie Rangel and President Bush, I was the chairman of global trade for Port Elizabeth in 2007. What I found out there was that if that closes in 4.5 weeks, we start here in New York City. All our supply is there. I think NAFTA was the worst thing to do. But in this paper, what I say is that China has a big problem. They have too much labor for innovation. To solve that overhang of potential innovation or labor, they have to expand their markets around the world. And the One Belt Road initiative I talked about is brilliant what they've done, and I always commend them. It is amazing what they have done in one generation. The issue is they can't come off that labor too fast, which gives the United States the opportunity for innovation, but we need all the robotic parts that come from China. So we have to start looking at the lower population can produce more products per person or services that can be distributed around the world. And I know Trump is looking at that. The other stuff he's doing, I don't know everything about that. I know about what I'm focused on. And the innovation here is what we need in the United States. And the VCs and the medicine, there's two industries we beat the Chinese on. One of which is medicine, with the 1986 Tax Act, right? That was the thing that they did with the charging off research and development only in the United States. All right. The other one is aviation, but that's a very thin margin. In 2007, I was in Wuhan on a mission with the Vatican to open up religious practice in China in exchange for allowing the pharmaceutical companies to deliver services with the blessing of the Vatican, as was told to me, around the world. Because what they wanted is open practice of religion. And there's some problems there, but as a son-in-law in China, I'm in the middle, and I wish my lovely bride was here, but she's departed now. So I'd be happy to take questions if you want. You can look up the foundation, the Global Chinese-U.S. Peace Research Institute. That one's pretty much done. The press releases are coming out, and we're working endlessly with 48 countries to bring about a change in how we look at things, to work together. All right, so thank you for coming tonight.